You're not lazy. If you were lazy, you wouldn't feel this much guilt. Lazy people don't feel a tightness in their chest when they delay something important. They don't replay unfinished tasks in their heads at night. They don't promise themselves that tomorrow will be different. But you do. You plan to start. You imagine progress. You even feel motivated for a moment. And then something shifts. You hesitate. You check your phone. You reorganize your desk. You tell yourself you need a better plan. Hours pass. Later, the guilt arrives. And the conclusion feels obvious. I'm just lazy. But that conclusion is wrong. Procrastination is rarely about laziness. It's about fear. Look at the pattern closely. You don't procrastinate brushing your teeth. You don't procrastinate eating when you're hungry. You don't procrastinate scrolling on your phone. You procrastinate the things that matter. The project that could change your career. The exam that tests your intelligence. The creative work that reveals your real ability. The conversation that could redefine a relationship. The more meaningful the task, the stronger the resistance. That is not coincidence. That is psychology. Carl Jung believed that much of human behavior is driven by forces outside our conscious awareness. Parts of us we prefer not to see, parts that threaten the image we try to maintain. He called this the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It is simply the part of you that does not fit the version of yourself you present to the world. And when you begin something important, you risk confronting it. Because the moment you try, reality answers back. And reality is honest. If you fully apply yourself and fail, you lose the comfort of potential. As long as you delay, you can tell yourself, I could do it if I really tried. That sentence protects your identity. It keeps your self-image intact. But action destroys that illusion. Action replaces fantasy with evidence, and evidence is final. This is why procrastination feels safer than effort. Delay preserves possibility. Possibility feels infinite. Reality has limits. And limits threaten ego. Every important task asks a silent question. Who are you really? Are you disciplined? Are you talented? Are you capable? Are you enough? If you don't try, you never have to answer. Procrastination is a strategy to avoid that answer. But there is another layer that most people ignore. Sometimes you are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of success. Because success creates responsibility. If you succeed, expectations rise. People notice. Standards increase. You can no longer hide behind potential. You must maintain performance. Growth disrupts identity. If your current identity is built around being someone who could, then actually doing forces transformation. And transformation is uncomfortable, so the mind negotiates. I'll start tomorrow. I need more preparation. I work better under pressure. These statements sound logical, but often they are sophisticated avoidance. The longer you delay, the heavier the task becomes. It stops being just a project. It becomes symbolic. It becomes proof of inconsistency, proof of fear, proof of weakness. Now, when you sit down to begin, you are not just starting fresh. You are confronting accumulated shame, and shame is powerful. Shame tells you, if you try now and still fail, you confirm everything. So you retreat again, you distract yourself again, and the cycle reinforces itself. This is why procrastination feels irrational. You want progress, but another part of you wants safety. The shadow prefers safety. Safety over exposure. Safety over growth. Safety over clarity. Because clarity is dangerous. Clarity removes fantasy. As long as your abilities are untested, they remain perfect in your imagination. But once tested, they become defined. And defined means limited. This is the real tension inside the procrastinator. Not laziness, not lack of ambition, but conflict between ego and truth. The ego wants to feel capable. Reality demands proof. Procrastination postpones the confrontation between the two. But here is the cost. Every time you avoid action, you subtly train your identity. You teach yourself, I cannot handle pressure. I cannot finish. I cannot face evaluation. Even if that isn't true, repetition makes it feel true. Identity is built through rehearsal, and avoidance is a rehearsal of limitation. The shadow grows stronger when ignored. Jung described individuation as the process of integrating what we reject in ourselves, bringing unconscious fears into awareness so they no longer control us blindly. The part of you that procrastinates is not your enemy. It is a protective mechanism. It is trying to prevent emotional pain, fear of embarrassment, fear of judgment, fear of discovering your limits. But protection becomes a prison when it blocks growth. The solution is not simply discipline. Discipline can force behavior temporarily, but if fear remains unconscious, the pattern returns. The real question is deeper. What am I afraid will happen if I fully try? Sit with that. Are you afraid of failing publicly? Afraid of disappointing someone? Afraid of discovering you are average? Or afraid that you might actually succeed and lose the comfort of your current identity? Most procrastinators never ask this question. They attack themselves instead. They call themselves lazy. They download productivity apps. They design stricter schedules, but none of that addresses the root. Because procrastination is rarely about time management. It is about identity protection. The next time you feel resistance, pause. Don't immediately force yourself into action. Instead, ask, what part of myself am I trying not to see right now? That question exposes the shadow. And when fear is named, it shrinks, not instantly, but steadily. You realize that you were never fighting a task. You were negotiating with your self-image. You were protecting an identity built on potential rather than proof. And the moment you accept that growth requires exposure, something shifts. Action becomes less dramatic, less terrifying, because you stop expecting perfection. You stop expecting certainty. You accept evaluation as part of development. You understand that reality is not an enemy, it is feedback. You are not lazy. You are afraid of clarity, afraid of definition, afraid of seeing yourself without the comfort of imagination. But the mirror is not there to destroy you. It is there to reveal you. And once you stop avoiding that reflection, action stops feeling like threat. It becomes alignment, not because fear disappears, but because you stop running from yourself. You were never lazy. You were avoiding the moment reality asks, who are you when potential is no longer enough? And the only way to answer that question is to begin.